it's 780 tests, something like that. No, actually, or I can talk about all the speeches he gave at all the conferences, all these great toolboxes, and basically when I'm really stuck at something and I don't know what to do, then I think Craig. But I think I'm just going to say, I introduced him by his Twitter hashtag, which is optimize to die. I think that pretty much says it all. Welcome, Craig Sullivan.
So, what am I going to be talking about today? I'm going to be talking about conversion killers, the bad stuff. The things that you are probably doing right now, the things that I'm definitely doing. A lot of people don't admit this bad stuff is in their lives, but I've been trying to get rid of it and it keeps coming back. So, you know, I don't try and go to conferences and say that my world is perfect, to try and show some of the bad stuff that I've got. We've all got a dirty place in our house. So, feel free to tweet me here, but there's lots of boring stuff about the company here, but the main thing is that I'm the Group E-Business Manager for Belron. We are the world's largest vehicle glass repair and replacement company. You will know us in Sweden as Carglass. We work with brands around the world, and I can't ask these guys to do anything. I have no authority over them. So, you know, I can only persuade them and do presentations and work with them like a consultant. If you like the stuff that I'm talking about today, and you want to find out more and hang out with a bunch of optimizers, there's a group on LinkedIn called the League of Optimizers. It sounds very secretive. We just talk about this stuff all day long. So please come and ask us questions. You'll get some good answers. This is an interesting little thing. There is if you go to the men's washrooms, not all of you will be able to do this, of course, but if you go to the men's washrooms at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, you will see that there's a fly painted in the urinal, you know, and you think, oh, what's that for? But the interesting thing is, what do men do? They pee on the fly every time. They can't resist it. They don't need a training manual. They don't need a user guide. It's an instinctive reaction. But here's the important thing. Because men pee on the fly, they don't pee on the floor. And it's actually an optimal part of the curvature of the urinal, which means there's less splashback. Now this means that there's 80% less spills to clear up on the floor afterwards. So this is optimization for the people who clean the toilets. Very, very important. And the interesting thing is, this is a feature of these that are deliberately designed to take advantage of this inherent human male tendency. You know, put a fly on it and guys will do this, you know. This is my job, basically. This is what I do. So really just to show you that life is not all fluffy kittens in this world and oh it's great and the birds are singing and the sun is shining. Let me get stuck into what are some of the bad things that we're all probably doing with conversion optimization. And this is very close to my home. I call this the not enough immersion problem. You're not actually living your product enough. And these guys make a parking meter, so you pay money to park your car. And what happened was somebody tied a chain round this and ripped this fucker out of the ground and left it there, right? This is how angry people get with your products. So why did somebody pull this out of the ground with a chain? Because when the guys designed this, they wanted to save money. And when people were buying tickets, if they had 30 minutes left on their ticket, they would give it to the next person who was parking in their space. So the local council would lose some money. So they thought, yeah, great. We will create a new parking meter that asks for the license plate of your car. And people would go up and put a coin in the slot and try to put money, and the coin would fall out the bottom. And after a long time, they would realize that it wouldn't give them a ticket until they put the license plate in. So they would go, I need my license plate. But then they couldn't remember their license plate. So you would see people going like this, trying to read their car down the road. Then they would have to walk all the way back to their car, and then they would have to walk back and join the huge queue in front of the parking meter machine. I've seen people slap these, kick them, and one guy who leaned against a restaurant and kicked the thing like this. So this is what people are experiencing with your products. This company, I actually rang them up and I said, why don't you go and watch, like I did, people who are doing this, because you'll see how angry they get. So if you don't have enough immersion in your product and you're not walking, you're not seeing how people are interacting with it, you're going to have a serious problem. So if you're a shoe store, you should buy loads of shoes and send them back like real people do. And maybe buy 20 boxes of shoes, send 19 of them back. Be really difficult and actually experience your product as customers really do. Now, as anyone who has ever experienced putting together anything more complicated than a light from IKEA will know, this can be an immensely frustrating experience. This is a fantastic cartoon. I really like this. It describes my experience perfectly. But, if you are actually working for IKEA, you should be buying this stuff and assembling it in your house. Will it go through the door? Are there any pieces left at the end? If you don't know the answers to these questions, then you're not actually experiencing it through the eyes of the customer. Do you ring your call center? Do you ring the phone number that's on your website? Do you know what the experience is like in your complaints department? You should call up, you should be difficult, you should return goods, you should ask questions, you should do everything that customers do to make your life miserable, because by doing this you will find out where the rough edges are. And even if you're trying things out like adding items to the basket on your laptop and then you walk out into the street and you sign in on your mobile device, is your basket still there? Do you know what's happening here with customers? Because if you're not actually living it from their point of view and immersing yourself in the product, experiencing it like them, then you're not going to encounter these problems. So, I have a little poll here. Do you find this annoying when you call the phone number on the website and they say, please visit our website at blah blah blah.com. So put your hand up if you find this annoying. Okay, if you know, no, keep your hand up, keep your hand up. If you know 100% whether your company has this message, put your hand down. Okay, there's still quite a few of you. So there are a lot of people who don't actually know whether they have this message, but they find it personally annoying. I hate this. But I also know when people also have this on their website, they sometimes ignore it. So, what's annoying for you as a consumer is also annoying for other consumers. And the important thing here, if you do not wear the magical slippers of customer experience and experience things as a real customer does, then they will not take you to interesting places. Problem number 2, your office is the usability test. So you don't actually go anywhere. You don't actually involve customers in helping you design your product or measure whether it's working for them. It's a really important part here of the work that we do. We probably spend something like about at least €1 million a year on user testing. But that doesn't mean that you have to spend as much money as we do. You can start with really cheap software. Look at the cost of entry here. For as little as £325, you can buy a piece of software, you put it on your laptop with a webcam, and you can take it out to a cafe, and you can actually take a video of people using your product and accessing your website, and you can even do this using a mobile phone. So, you should be going out and testing this stuff. There's no barrier to entry here. It really is very cheap. And when I first started out in usability and conversion optimization, we did this. This is called paper prototyping. This is your mouse. Where would you click? What do you think of this page? What do you think this website is? You can take the designs that you have before you have written any HTML code, and you can take it to a coffee shop, a bookstore, and get customers to click on it with their finger. Yeah, and then you shift the piece of paper and say, right, now we go to this screen. So there isn't really any barrier to you doing this sort of stuff. And it doesn't really take very much time, but by testing early and often with customers, with your designs, they will show you where the bullshit is in your design. And why is all this user-centered design really important? Because I see a Venn diagram here of 3 things that I'm being pulled with constantly. You know, I've got what my business wants. You know, they want to make as much money as possible with the lowest cost. They want to make the service efficient operationally. You know, I've got a technology platform that I want to operate. And then I've got what the customers actually want. And really the important thing here is that this technology platform, especially now with the growth of mobile here, this technology platform, it's not a tech platform anymore. It's your brand. It's your brand experience. What people are going to experience when they come to your website or your mobile site, that's probably going to be most of the experience, the initial experience that they have of your brand. So the tech platform isn't just that. It's going to really drive the entire customer experience, and it's going to make people feel things about your product. This is great. I'm happy. You know, I've achieved something. It's fun. It's reliable. It does the job that I want. And there aren't many companies who are in this sweet spot in the middle. This is where the money is, because you're saying, I can design something that works on my tech platform. It's something that gives a great experience, and it's also what the customer wants. And if you're in this position, then you will kill your competition. This is a competition-beating argument, this one. When we build products, we don't just build them for one platform. We take a lot of insight that comes from research sources, and we go through an iterative design process, which means we keep going round and round this circle until the product is clear of defects. If you're really interested in what we do, we use a mixture of techniques. We use agile project management, a thing called Lean UX, which is a very simplified, iterative way of getting feedback on your products. And we also use a technique called Kanban, which allows us to actually prioritize the kind of features that customers will be delighted by, and the ones that we know that they expect in the product. And really, this is the way our products actually work. When our lawyers couldn't understand this 2 weeks ago when I was explaining to them, they said, so you don't know when you start to build something what it will be like at the end? And I said, yeah. So how can we write a contract for this? Well, you can't really, because the product does not start with a specification. The product starts with something a bit like this bronze head. So we make an outline, and then we show it to customers, and then they change the shape of it, and then we make it a little bit better. And we keep going further and further through this process until we add the emotional layer onto the product, the bit that keeps the customer happy, that understands their emotional needs. And so you go all the way from an initial sketch all the way through to the finished product. But it's not us deciding at the start what the finished sculpture will look like. It's the customer helping us shape what the product is. And it's a very important difference. So, a big thing here for immersion: get out of the office, get out of your team, get out of your department. There are no excuses. You can use friends and family, you can go to a shop if your company owns stores, or you can go to a local cafe. The important thing is that you learn where all the little bits that join the product together are, the bits that glue the customer experience together from a consumer point of view. And the important thing is that building things this way, and these are very good books to read if you want to do this kind of stuff. You know, this will cost you about $50 to buy these 3 books. It'll probably be the best money that you ever spend. The important thing is here, you will get a product to market faster than your competitors, because you're not releasing and re-releasing and saying, oh God, we got it wrong, we have to release a new version of our app because the last one really bombed, it didn't work. And the other important thing is, if you're looking after the budgets in your company, is that you've got hugely reduced development costs. Some people say saves them, you know, it costs about an eighth or a tenth of the price to develop this way rather than the old way of developing things. The important thing is, this isn't really designed by customers. You know, if they were to design this, they would have a perfect product, it would cost almost nothing, it would give them everything, it would be delivered on the same day. So we're not using this to design it, you know, as if it was owned by the customers, but they are helping us design the best product within that sweet spot. And the important thing is that watching all this stuff gets the team away from focusing on bullshit, what your boss thinks, what his boss thinks, what your colleague thinks, what that annoying person that sits next to you at work thinks. I'm not really interested in their opinions. I want the team to focus on what the customers actually need and where the money is. Follow the money. And you get from this work actionable insights which identify pivots. So you think, wait a minute, we're in the wrong business. These customers have just shown us as a new way we can build this product that we would never have thought of before. And some of my best ideas about changing our product and way of working actually come from customers. And you get that, you remove the costly re-release cycles that you get in typical sort of web development, and customers are happy. You get more money, and you will get bigger growth. But here's the most important thing. There is too much ego and opinion in building web products. What I think, what my boss thinks, what all these other people think, it doesn't really matter. And this is the best way to remove all those cherished notions. Usability testing is the killing fields of these cherished notions and this egotistical way of building products. Make sure that you take ego and opinion out of this stuff. And you don't need to spend very much money. It really costs nothing but the time for your ears, your listening time on this stuff. Number 3, we often build these products as robotic and emotionless, and we sit there in our office saying, oh yeah, this will be a really good way, we're going to design this web form and it's going to ask these questions, and John was showing one earlier on, but we often design this stuff in a robotic and emotionless and ceaseless, unyielding way, like Terminator. It's like invalid postcode, error. It's a really ugly way of dealing with customers. And if you think of the difference in the way someone would deal with you on the phone, and then you think of your web experience, would you do that to someone on the phone? Say, invalid phone number, invalid email address. You wouldn't talk to people like this. And Andre Maurice will be talking this afternoon about some of the psychology in web design, and it's a really important part of my work, actually understanding the emotional layer, saying thank you, saying sorry when something goes wrong, explaining to people what happens next. Why do we need this big piece of information? You know, and trying to solve errors gracefully, not doing it like a robot. Number 4, you don't value the craft of copywriting. Words make a huge difference on our websites, and we put a lot of effort into this. It's taken me a long time to get management interested in the craft of copywriting. If you are not paying somebody who's skilled in copywriting, or you are doing it and your company is not investing in you and giving you training on this stuff, then you are seriously hosed. And these are the important things that I've found in any copywriting. The comprehension. Can they understand what you mean? They may not understand your words or your business, so don't try and use your words. Use their words. Clarity. Very, very easy to understand. You know, some people say, oh, you know, we shouldn't write like this. It makes the customers feel stupid. But you have to aim for clarity, because if you don't, then people are not going to get the comprehension. And the simplicity here is very important. Use less words. You know, don't use really long sentences. Try and make it really short sentences, really simple words, not so many syllables. And persuasion. Persuasion is something I talk about a lot. There are great books on this subject I'm going to be coming to in a minute. But the important point here is this all adds up to this scanning behavior. People over about the age of 60, certainly in the usability tests I've been looking at, they read everything on the page. They read every line. And I'm sitting there, I'm going to die. Soon I'm going to die. And then everybody else is scanning. They are hopping from word to word. They're following a scent trail. They're trying to find where is the next thing, where is the next step, where is the next action that I can take. And they're looking for trigger words. They're looking for things that they can click on. So it's really, really important for both those audiences that you make this stuff as short and easy to scan as possible. These are 3 great books. If you buy these books and read them, you will get much smarter at doing this work. These 3 books taught me an awful lot. This particular one in the middle, this is the godfather of all books about persuasion. If you really want to know how to get inside people's heads and use a lever on their brains to get them to do something on your website, this is a fantastic place to start. You should also follow this lady, Susan Weinschenk, who wrote this book, Neural Web Design. She's called the Brain Lady. She has huge amount of videos and useful stuff on her website. Read this stuff because it really will help you understand how to influence customers on your website. Here's a really great example. Which one of these do you think got the best result on our site? And so here is the PPC ad that we were running in Australia. And we were spending lots of money on this one at the top. And this was the new one that we came up with. Who thought that A was the winner? Nobody at all. B? Anyone think B? Yes, it was B. But look at the difference, what a few words made. 33% lower acquisition cost. So why did this work? Well, when we asked people to unpick this in a test, we said, okay, so what does this mean? Well, that's a lot of windscreens, okay, and so, well, they must have a really big warehouse to fit all these windscreens in. And so, well, they must have lots of deliveries every day, so they've got all these vans delivering new windscreens. And so, well, if they have all these deliveries coming in, then it must mean they're a really big company and I can trust them. They're not a small company that's maybe only just working in their local area. And so they're bound to have loads of vans in my area driving around, so I could probably get an appointment really quickly. And what this is like is it's like dominoes. You have persuasive copy, but it keeps rolling and people think one thing, then the next thing, then another thing. That's why you get the lower acquisition cost. So we can spend the same amount of money on advert B and get 1/3 more customers. Easy. Now here's an interesting one. Number 5. We have no fucking clue why they leave. They're leaving in huge numbers from our funnel, they're bouncing out of the page, they're exiting from our funnel process, but we have no idea why. So how do we go about finding out this stuff? How do we actually ask the customers or get some useful data here? Well, the most important thing here is analytics data. So there are 2 parts to this. If you are not investing continually in your analytics, if you went to eMetrics last week, you would have heard about this. And a fantastic guy who trained my entire team, Brian Clifton, is speaking after me. Listen to what this guy has to say. Putting money into this is really important, and we try to set aside 15% of our time every month to actually add more measurement to our website. So not happy with the measurement we've got, so next month we have some better measurement. And if you keep moving this forward, you will actually get better insight over the course of a year. So when customers contact you, your contact center, the emails that they send you, the feedback tools that you have, or any research that you do, this is also a really good source. Usability testing in the lab, or guerrilla usability testing where you take a laptop or a camera out somewhere. Fantastic. We've even done diary studies where we actually find people who have cars and who have got windshield damage. And then we get them to keep a diary on their mobile phone, or phoning a number, or emailing us to tell us how they chose the company. They don't even know at this point that they're actually doing this diary study for us. They just know that we want to hear all their thoughts. We want to know what happened when they phoned these companies up. We want to get inside their heads. So we can then look at the diary and understand what's happening there. If you can put on-site feedback tools like 4Q, KISS Insights, or Campile on your website, you'll get some feedback. Why does this page suck? Well, customers will tell you there. And all our teams encouraged to go once a month to our contact centre and put on one of these headsets and listen for a day. Listen to customers complaining about stuff, asking questions. And I have always said to my team, when you think you have learned everything, don't go anymore. They're still going every month. And surveys and customer satisfaction measurement, if you're measuring NPS or you have other tools to measure customer satisfaction, you will get an idea there. Why is this stuff working like it is? And of course, books, websites, tips, and conferences like this one going to give you lots of valuable, useful ways of trying to measure and figure out what's actually happening here. And last but not least, there's a really cool set of tools called session recording tools, and I'm just going to talk briefly about those. We use a product called ClickTail. So everybody says to me, above the fold or beneath the fold. So where is the fold line? Is it 800 pixels, 900? No, it's wherever the fold line is for the customer. So in this case, ClickTail is telling me that here, 99% of my visitors can see this button. When this button goes beneath this line, and maybe only 80% see it, it makes me less money. Your designers might tell you where the fold line is, but this will tell you where it really is on the customer screen. And if the customers can't see the goddamn fucking button, then they won't get to the next step in the same numbers. So ClickTail is a really, really useful way of figuring out the answer to that question. ClickTail and other session recording tools will also tell you where people are clicking that aren't clickable. So if people are going click, 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 this will not be recorded in your analytics software. You will not see any data, but does that mean whether it's happening or not? Really important. ClickTail, other session recording tools will tell you this. Now here's the one for all you web developers and geeks out there. This is a JavaScript error, and you can see here that I can see at the top the exact piece of code that is causing a problem on this page. And we get JavaScript errors all the time. Your developers might test your website properly, but ClickTail will allow me to harvest all the errors that happen every month, and then we will go and try and remove all of these problems and get rid of them. So, session recording for me is vital for optimizers, and it fills in a missing link for Insight because it tells you stuff that you will not get from your web analytics package. And here, T-Leaf is talking here today, and they make an excellent server-side session replay tool, but ClickTail, MouseFlow, GhostWreck, Userfly, these are ones that actually collect data on the client side. And you can use this stuff to optimize in real time. You can launch something on your website, and 15 minutes later, you can be watching videos of people fucking up with it, or it working properly. So it's a really good way of not waiting months before you launch something. Just get it on your website and start looking at people using it. You'll soon be able to tell whether it's working or not. So this again can help you get stuff onto your website faster than the competition. I'm not going to go through all this lot, but if you really want to get some additional feedback, you can use crowdsourcing tools or remote usability testing tools to get people who already visit your website and say, hey, would you like to see a new beta version of the site that we are running? Would you like to see a new design that we have for the homepage? So all these people are coming into your website every day. Why not ask them to do something for you. And actually, people are very happy to participate in these things and give you feedback. Now, just to show you that it's true, I have shitty forms on my website. John thinks he's got some bad stuff. Look at this. It's so fucking huge that I had to cut it into 3 pieces. You know, it wants to know what your dog's name is, whether you've been divorced or not. Look at all this text at the end. But the interesting thing is, it's really funny. This form sucks. It converts really, really, really badly. But it's for building glass. It's for offices. And the average order value of people who convert on this form is $40,000. The business is not doing so well. You know why? This is not a lead generation form. This is a toilet roll. If you really want to fix this kind of stuff, I learned all of the good things that I know about forms optimization from Luke Wroblewski. He's got a website, lukew.com. Read his stuff, watch his videos, buy his book. This is the best way, forms optimization, to get 10, 20, 30% more business from the same number of customers. You can get this too. Here's another example on forms. Which one of these is correct? These are all the different kinds of phone numbers that customers type into our forms in the UK for a London number. Now, if you are a guy who works in IT, you would be saying, there is only one, and it's this one in black. All the rest are invalid phone numbers, okay? But these are really what people type in. So, which one is correct? Every single one of them is correct. And if you strip off the country code and the brackets and take the spaces away, magically you will get the same number. So you can do invisible usability to actually remove this stuff. So when you process a phone number, you don't say invalid phone number, you say, yeah, I know what you mean. So I'm just going to store the phone number and take away all this extra stuff. Most people don't do this, which is why your forms suck. Another example here is for postcodes. I know the postcode set up here is slightly differently, but we also get different things. So the correct postcode is CR01XA, but we get people putting CROLXA. So they put it the way they think it is, not necessarily the way it's supposed to be. Well, what's all this stuff on the right-hand side? Why are we getting exclamation marks and quotes and things in this? It's because when people are putting the postcode in, they're not touch typists looking at the screen, they're looking down at the keyboard. And they like to put it in capitals, so they use the shift key. And this is why they get exclamation marks, because they are shifting the numbers. But what I did with these in this company is I automatically changed these into the numbers, because I know, yeah, you mean a number. So this one at the top is SE136DH. No error message, no loss on the form, perfect data every time. That one field, optimizing this one field on this form for love film, saved 2.5%. So 2.5% increase in conversion for one field. What if you did 10 fields like this? Amazing stuff. And here was a little trip I was on in June this year, and I'm going to be talking about something performance that I really love. And I was in the north of Norway, sitting here at the Saltstraumen, and using my iPhone on a brilliant 3G connection. It was amazing. It was like Wi-Fi. Everywhere I went near this town, outside the town, in the town, and even 30, 40 kilometers away, I was getting amazing mobile performance. But not everywhere is like that in the world. In Stockholm, it's sort of been not too good actually. So, you know, but just to show you that not everything is better in Norway, This was the adverts for the nightlife in the hotel. Why do you think I locked myself in my room every night? I was not going to any of these. So, if using your product is like watching slugs have a fight, and this took me a long time to find. This is actually two slugs having a fight. Exciting, isn't it? You should be using this stuff. Google has site speed tags that you can turn on your website, and they will actually capture the real performance from real customers. And you can actually work out which pages are fast and which pages are slow. And these two are fantastic as well. This Akamai mobile test, and this one for testing your desktop web pages. Really, really good way. It doesn't matter how fast it is in your office. It doesn't matter how fast it is in Norway. It matters how fast it is on your customer's machine, where they are, and what technology they're using to connect to the web. And there's money here in this. When this company called Strangeloop did some testing recently, they introduced a delay into the load of a website. So gigs here. So this means 1 second, basically, 1,000 milliseconds. This is what happened when they added a 1 second delay to your web page. Your bounce rate negatively impacted by 8%. Your conversion rate down 3.5%. The size of your shopping basket down 2%. And if you're a content owner, this should concern you. Page views down 10% for 1 second on the load time of your home page. So turn this round and say, if we made our web page 1 second faster, how much money is that going to make you? This is like an iceberg. You only see the bit at the top, but it's the bit underneath that's the important bit. And there's a really important metric here, which is what actually happened to returning visitors. Now, if you're an e-commerce site, then you'll know that repeat visitors are the lifeblood of your money. If this sucks, then you are going to go out of business, or you're really going to struggle. So this line at the top, this pink line here, is the repeat visitor percentage without the delay. And this blue line is a 1 second delay. See this gap between the two? That is what they call a lot of bloody money in there. So very, very important. That's just 1 second. I also did some tests here on some mobile websites in Sweden. Coop.se. Their web page for the mobile site looks really cool. It's great. It's got a responsive design. Oh, I can turn it on its side. But it's 1.2 megabytes. Guys, come on. You have got to load 63 elements on the page just to start using this website. Even IKEA is pretty bad. 683K to load IKEA on my iPhone? Are you kidding? By comparison, the site that we run for Carglass in Sweden is 25K and 10 requests. And this stuff isn't going to get better when you get 4G. 4G will make it maybe about 25% faster to load, but it won't fix this problem with the round-trip requests. If you're asking for too many things when you load the page, it's going to slow it down and it's going to cost you money. I wonder how much more money IKEA would make if their web page for mobile was 1/10 of the size or 1/4. You should test this stuff on your site or your competitors. Again, these are some really great ways of checking this stuff out. Ideally, the load time on your mobile site should be 2 seconds or less. At least 50% of the load time on, at least 50% of our customers load our mobile websites in less than 1 second all around the world. So, summary on performance. It makes money, and you should really use this stuff and basically keep down the round-trip requests and the download sizes on these pages. And the summary here is that It doesn't matter whether it looks cool, whether it's a great design, it's going to impact your bottom line. So get the performance right first, and you know, have a good design too, but don't make sure that one runs the other. Number 8, you don't do any or you don't do enough split testing in your site. As John knows, split testing is a big thing that we do. We put lots of money into it and we run an awful lot of them. If you are not split testing, this is a picture for you or your boss. You can sit in your office and feel really smug and happy that you're doing brilliantly. Yeah, you're great, you're cool. No, you're not, because you're wasting lots of money by not actually running tests. You're missing a huge opportunity. And over the last year, we have done over 30 million tests on customers. Ha ha ha. It was great fun. But over 90% of these fail. Yeah, most of them suck. Most of them don't make any money. They don't really give us huge insight. They just fail. It's okay to fail. Get used to it. Start making mistakes and learning from them. It's really cheap to do this stuff. You have Google Content Experiments now, which is integrated with your analytics. And there are cheap or free entry points for these 2 other split testing tools. Get one of these today. And you know, once you use these for a while, then next step up, Autonomy Optimost is what we use. Web Trends Optimize is also very good. But look, you don't have to pay big bucks to get testing on your site. These are some recent examples on our home pages, and you can see these are showing the winners. They didn't show all the ones that failed, and it took a lot of testing to get these right, but these are the increases in conversion in our conversion funnel just from changing one page, okay? So there's an awful lot of money here. You know, if you're doing several €100,000 of business a month, then adding 8% more onto this from changing one page, it's going to make a huge difference to the profitability of your business. And so what do we test? We do A/B testing, and we also do multivariate testing. So when I mean multivariate testing, it means when I'm testing more than one element on a page, maybe 2 buttons, 2 headlines, 2 pictures. So this is 8 different page designs. And you've also got to be careful here when you're testing this stuff. You can test and test and test and think you're up here, but actually you have the best design. It's like when you climb a hill and you think, I'm at the top, and then the clouds move and you see actually the top is up there. Don't kid yourself. You've got to keep testing this stuff. We do all sorts of different types of testing, landing pages, funnels. The most important thing here is that you do as wide a mixture of testing on as many pages as possible on your site. This is the typical test life cycle that we go through. You can download this later on, but this basically tells you how we go through the whole process and actually do an A/B or a multivariate test. Here are some recent examples. This is 6% lift that we got on our Swedish homepage, and also a 19% lift. The old page was pretty bad on our Norwegian page. Here's another example when we have made small changes to the left-hand side of the page. So we use less words, we use icons. We've tried to shrink these words down. This adds 1 to 2.5% on the conversion rate every time that we run this test. So it's really important. I'm not going to run through all of these, but this is my summary of the stuff on the page that makes the biggest difference in test. This isn't something that I put together for this conference. This is the same list that I've been looking at for the last year, and it's still absolutely true. A really important point in the middle here is that words, the word on the button, the headlines, the copy, and any sort of text and framing here on the page is 50 to 70% of all that uplift. So all those 10 and 15% lifts that we got wasn't the picture or the design or the color that was doing that, it was the words. Don't forget the words. And there are some great guidelines out there, books to read. but your site, every page and site will vary. So you can't take these techniques and apply them and say, oh, this will work on my website. You have to test it in your situation with your customers. So, and in terms of the testing approach that we take, you know, I say to people, stop testing tiny little things, testing the colour of a button. No, forget about it. I started doing that. I thought, oh, it'd be really cool. Does an orange button or a green button work? But I quickly discovered I was just wasting my time on this. And there aren't any major cultural factors in testing. If you live in a country where you read from right to left, of course this is going to make a big difference. But there isn't a French conversion rate optimization approach or a Norwegian one. It's really down to market, consumers, and traffic. It's not, there isn't a different cultural approach here. I think there are some huge cultural factors, but they aren't anything to do particularly with A/B testing. And it's much better to do lots and lots of small tests and fail faster. It's not how many tests you start each month or a year, it's how many you finish. If your tests are taking 8 months to finish, it's too long. It should be weeks. And don't forget, like I said, the words, they make a huge difference. Don't test yourself into a corner as well. Sometimes I end up optimizing my page designs, but I think I'm kind of reaching the end, and I need something to, you know, shift this existing design and put a new challenger on the website. So you need to take a very disruptive approach and say, let's try something totally radical on this website. Let's try a completely different design. So on our Netherlands website, we had been through some rounds of testing. We had found that this guy was a really good, friendly image to have on the page. But we decided, you know, we're kind of running out of ideas here. We need to shake things up a bit. So we came up with 6 new designs, and we tested them, and this one was the winner. So a page we have already optimized, if we keep optimizing this, we get less and less and less and less every time. But then you start on a new design, and then you're off on a new mountain. You're climbing up to a new hill. And this gave us an additional 8% more than the old one did. So, you know, it's like painting yourself into a corner, and then you have nowhere to go. You need to shake up the design and change things from time to time. And here's an example of the words. This is the Flemish page in Belgium. That 14% lift is only from the words. It's just these words here. That's the only difference between the 2 pages, okay? So I've made my point on the words. Here's a really good example. You can take this away in the slides and test people on this. What was the button that got the most sign-ups? If you vote A, put your hand up. Who says B? Okay. Who says C? Who says D? Okay, the guys who put up B, you're good. Yeah, that's pretty good. But actually, all this stuff is guessing. You don't actually know. I can't predict this stuff. These are the 3 top buttons around the world. I've tested 161 button wordings for book appointment, book now, book online, book quickly, book here now. I've tried them all. And these are the 3 that keep coming out at the top in every country, in every language, for our website. It will be different for yours. Get started. Fix my glass. And if any UX people are out there, click here. Yeah, it really does work. And there is one better than click here someone told me about last week. He said, oh, I've got a better one than click here. I said, please tell me. They said, click here now. Now, this only works when you have it in some text. It does not work where you have this inside a lot of text, so blah, 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 blah. Click here. If you say, would you like the free thing? Click here, where it's 2 pieces that go together. blah, 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 here's the prize, click here. This works very, very well. So, don't overcook test, don't test things that are very similar. The biggest stuff that makes a difference on pages to us is the copy, the call to action, where it is, how big it is, how prominent it is, the words on it, the images, where we use badging, like, you know, buy now, or recommended, or top product, also navigation and layout. And the biggest external factors are page and site performance and browser compatibility. Number 9, your images are an afterthought. How many times have we said, oh, just pick something and put it on the page? But when we have tested images on their own, you know, not testing other things on the page, we get a huge difference. So we tested this guy on his own versus another image. We get 8% more. In Germany, this lady did fantastically well, 12% better. And in Spain, everybody said to me when we picked this lady, our advertising guys said, this lady is really ugly. We would never use her on TV. And I went and showed them this, and I said, why do you think this is? You would never use her on TV, yet she beats all the guys. She's beaten everybody that we've put her into test. She just looks normal. She looks like somebody who is ready and willing to help. She doesn't look like a supermodel. So what? She helps us make more money on the Spanish website. So, it's always true. I have one like this. Make sure you use real people, authentic, smiling, friendly, approachable people. And please, never, ever, ever, ever use stock images for testing on your site. And it's okay if the picture quality is crap, if the video is shaky. It actually reinforces the authenticity. It makes it more real, as the Americans say. So, this is the perfect example. If you have pictures like this on your site, go and shoot yourself, right? If you want more examples, there is a website here, and no, this is not a German porn site. You will not get fired. You will not get fired for visiting this website. Yeah, there is a website. It's dedicated to the art of bad call center photography. Okay? And there's also another site called Awkward Stock Photos. Fantastic. It will keep you laughing all day long. It's really great stuff. Now here's an example of a test that I did on our Australian website with a stock photo, just to prove the point. Can anyone tell me what's wrong with this lady's face and her smile? Anyone got a suggestion? No. Okay. She is not really smiling. Her cheeks and her eyes are not crinkling. The smile is there, but it's not an authentic smile. It's an inauthentic smile. And if you don't believe me, there is a fake smile test. So you can actually go and see how good you are. UX people, conversion rate optimizers, people, you know, who are doing this work a lot, seem to score better at this. Try your boss on it. If your boss is really bad at this, then make sure they're not making decisions about photography. And just to show you, I don't always get perfect photos. These are some of the really crap things that people send me every bloody week to put on our website and run a test. We've got this guy in Canada pointing at things like the button, and he's randomly fingering these German guys. That was just me, my idea of fun. Then my friend, the Eastern European ticket inspector, he looks, you put him on your website, then people are not going to convert. This guy's really, really happy. Look, and this isn't, you know, also look at the hands. You know, people do strange things with their hands. You know, they put them here, or they fold their arms, or they use negative body language. You've got to be really careful about this stuff. That guy folding his arms is taking a defensive posture to you. Even if you don't understand that this is happening. Your brain is saying to you, this guy's, you know, taking a defensive line here. So we then take all these test results and this kind of psychological insight, and we use this to drive photography guidelines. So all our companies now have a guideline, you know, so groups of people, vans, stores, any of that corporate crap that everybody wants us to put in the website, no, it doesn't work. You know, open, friendly, natural, engaged, you know, ready, waiting with a clipboard, yeah, you know, I'm ready to help you. In a service industry like ours, it's really important. And also to look straight at you. I've tested where people look on the page, taking multiple photographs. The best result is when people are making eye contact straight at you. If you've got a university site saying, come to our university and study here, and all the photos are of people talking to each other, they're ignoring you. They're saying, go away, not interested. I'm talking to this person here, I'm just ignoring you. So make sure that you've got people's attention here. And the smile must involve the cheeks and the eye crinkle. When I've tested without eye crinkle and with eye crinkle works. It makes more money. Make sure that the smile is authentic. And we still got a genital framing picture the other week. You're all thinking, what is genital framing? Oh my God, what's the next photo going to be like? If you want a good example of genital framing, it's like this. It's like when people sort of point at their genitals. And I can confidently tell you, these do not make more money. These really put people off. And just a final example of how flipping the picture makes a little bit of a difference. And hi to you guys at the bottom here. Follow these people because they're my friends in Sweden. How does changing the picture change things? Oh, you're not going to hear this in the next 12 months. And another example, flip the picture again. We always had a plan for pulling out. Oh, we always had a plan for pulling out. Number 10. Number 10 is you're not investing in the omni-channel future, so your analytics investment simply isn't there. And you're not trying to make your products really work across channels for the customer. So right now, if you're operating a mobile, a tablet, website, maybe an app, and your desktop site, you can call yourself a multi-channel business. Great. Clap yourself on the back. But that's not where the money is. The money is in cross-channel, where I can walk into a store, I can add items to my basket, I can move to another device, and it will start to glue that journey together. And the future, as far as Forrester and a lot of other people are concerned, is an omni-channel, where it's really just an experience, a wrapper that the device provides, but you don't really care where the customer is, what they're using, how they're interacting with you. They get the same services, they get access to the same stuff. You've got to be able to sort of invest in this stuff in the future. And there's still quite a few sites in Sweden and Norway that are what I call uni-channel. Okay? If you are uni-channel, you have no mobile presence right now in this market, then that little snowflake on the top is all yours. Enjoy it. It won't last long. So, and this is the Forrester roadmap. They're saying, you know, you go from having nothing in terms of sort of web presence through to multi-channel, cross-channel, and then this idea that every experience is going to be a contextualized mobile experience. You know, it's going to be about where I am, what device I have in my hand, and how I can interact with your product or service when I walk into your store, when I call you on the phone. Within the next 2 to 3 years, there will be people who start to succeed here, and people who don't invest. If you're not investing in this kind of cross-channel thinking right now, then your competitors might be. Now, a very interesting little tip to add here is in terms of contact tracking. I mentioned this at eMetrics last week. John, could I get some more water, please? Thank you. One thing to do, if you're operating a mobile site, a tablet, apps, add a unique phone number to all channels, right? You need to be able to measure this stuff. Don't use the same phone number. But an even better one is adding tap to call or click to call. So go to your analytics guys and get them to add an event for when people tap the phone number. So what does that give you? Well, it means that you've now got keyword level call tracking. You can tell what keywords on Google are generating which phone calls. Fantastic. So what did people do before they phoned you? Which page did they call you from? And what PPC advert or SEO keyword did they type into Google to make the phone? This will help you save an awful lot of money. And the reason is for this. If you look here, this is the number of phone calls we get compared to online conversions. So you can see here that some keywords generate almost no phone calls, and some keywords generate 25 times the number of phone calls. This is why you're probably wasting lots of your marketing money. If you operate a mobile site, you should put this type of call tracking on. It costs you nothing. You can do it with Google Analytics. What about desktop? If you have a desktop website, you can also use this technique, click to reveal, where when you click on the phone number, it opens up. You can also track this event and get the same data. And really, the way that if you want to go one further, there are companies that will allow you to put a unique phone number tracking system on your desktop site. So each customer gets a unique phone number from a pool. That means that when a customer picks up their unique tracking number on the website and calls you, you can now collect all this data for all the phone calls and put this into Google Analytics, Omniture, other packages. And for the first time, you can actually start to collect phone data in your analytics package and really understand where business is being driven. But more importantly, you can start to do the kind of split testing that I mentioned to you, but using web techniques on your phone system. So this flexible telephony cloud in front of your call center now allows you to try different kinds of music or call routing to have VIP team numbers that you call. And it will help you find profit in the phone channel. If you have any size of phone channel for your business, you should be looking at this stuff right now. And in the Nordics, I would suggest you talk to a company called FreeSpee. And if you're working anywhere else, there is a list of companies and countries that they operate these kind of services. Go and talk to these companies. This will really help you understand what's happening. Almost at the end. You don't do the right sort of testing on your website. Please, please test using browsers. This is one of the biggest reasons for checkout, dropout rates that I would say that you probably don't know about. A lot of companies I've asked to check this stuff find that one browser, maybe Google Chrome or Firefox, has a bug during the checkout. But no one's going to call you up and tell you, so why don't you see what the drop rate is for each type of browser on your site? And if one of them is much bigger than the rest, that means it's broken and you're not doing enough testing. This is a mobile test rig that we use. These are mobile phones in California. I can rent these phones out, I can install apps on them, I can make phone calls, I can send text messages. They're like a real phone, but I don't have to buy them. I rent them per the hour. And at the moment, oh, this slide hasn't quite come out, but in the UK and Sweden, we're over 25% of our mobile visitors, 25% of our visitors come from mobile handsets. That's a pretty big chunk of your business. You should be testing on these handsets. There's a list of testing tools. Last but not least, number 12, You Are Evil. And this is a really great website run by a guy called Harry Brignall. And it shows you all of the evil things that you can do with conversion rate optimization. This is an evil thing. 6 to 20 characters must contain one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter, and one number, and cannot contain your first or last name or your dog or your wife's maiden name. This, if you're doing stuff like this, you are evil. This is another one. These guys hid the payment options underneath the phone. Look at this one. Open a credit account today. Continue. So the page fold is here, so people see this options. This is evil. They ought to be killed. I hate things like this. Include in your download. Yeah, I want the Flash player. No, I don't want this other stuff by default included in my software. This one's particularly good. They hide the tick box so that it makes it really hard for you to untick and unsubscribe from spam. And the Evil Genius Award that I've got goes to Ryanair. Ryanair have a way of tricking you to buy AXA travel insurance. This is totally evil. This is a question and answer site. There is your question that you typed in, and there is the answer at the bottom. That's 4,200 pixels of bullshit between you and what you want. If you like things like these, you should visit that website. Please don't give up on this stuff. You know, if you can make a small shift in online revenue just from some of the smart stuff that I've shown you today, what would a team of 5 people get you all working on this kind of stuff? You know, and you know, if you're finding it hard to hire people that know about this stuff, mail me. I've got some really good interview questions that you can use to cut out the bullshitters. But it's all about sort of investment here. You've got to invest in people. This stuff is rarely a technology problem. It's a people problem at the heart of it. My final slide on this topic is, show me the money. Okay, so how much money did we make out of all this stuff? Well, in 2011, we grew our conversion rate by 15% across the world. And in 2012, we are projecting that we'll grow it by 25%. Our last 3 funnel redesigns that we did got us 37%, 23%, and 12.5% more customers. Our return on investment on conversion optimization is about 300 times the cost of the staff and the software. And just that one funnel, that 37% one, will drive an extra 30 to 40 million US dollars in revenue per annum. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And on our mobile site, because of all the testing we've done, the conversion rates, including phone, are about 15 to 20% across most sites. That's very, very good. You should aim for that. And that means that in some of our markets, mobile is over 25% of online revenue, and that web app will take 125 million euros this year. That is pretty good for one small site. And really, at the end of it, this isn't really anything special. We love this stuff. We love making things better and also making more money. And it also keeps me in a job and makes my boss delighted. And if you thought that this was a whole load of old balls, you can grab me later. Get in touch with me via email, tweet me, hook up with me on LinkedIn, and certainly come by this afternoon to meet the experts and ask any questions that you want, or let me have a look at your site. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope it was useful, and please download the slides afterwards. Cheers.
I just want to ask you one question. Do you think it's, when people go back now, should they read the Rogozinski book, or should they add another stupid piece of shit that doesn't fucking work? Any opinion?
There's plenty of people, there's too many people around the office going to stick another fucking stupid piece of shit on the website. That's going to fucking work. What you've got to do is go back to the office, shoot all of them first, and then put something, and then start doing some testing.
Thanks a lot.